Welcome to my video review of the Q666 travel tripod. This is a magnesium aluminium alloy tripod. I'll just show you quickly what you get in the pack. Firstly, you get a padded travel case here to stash it in. There is a bag which comes pre-fitted to the head, and you can store the head in that if you take it off. A small manual here. There's a pouch and an Allen key for adjusting the tension on the legs and the main tripod itself. So we'll have a quick look at the tripod first and see what parts are on that. Looking at the main tripod, you'll see it here now in its compacted form. That's so that you can fit it into the bag for travelling. It's a reversible design, so what we're going to do is unfold the tripod and show you what happens there. Open out the leg sections here. Now the first thing to note is here that this isn't sprung loaded. You have to manually pull these out to lock the legs in and then push it in. So if you push it down, you need to push it in again to lock the position. Some tripods that you may look at will have a spring-loaded mechanism, so it will automatically do it. On this, you have to actually push it in yourself. It's not a huge problem, it's just something to bear in mind when you're using it. Okay, so we now have the tripod in its smallest position with the center column is raised up. We can adjust the height of that with the column here. Now this is a two-piece adjuster here, so there's another section here, so you can actually extend it quite high, the central column. Looking at the ball head now, this is the supplied one with the tripod, although you can take it off and change it for another one. It's an Arca Swiss style one, which gives it the advantage of being compatible with other makes and brands. They're all set to a standard, so you can interchange the plates, so that could be useful later on. Only slight disadvantage with them is that they are slightly longer to mount and dismount the plates, but they are very sturdy, and people would generally prefer them to the proprietary heads and mounting systems that you get. It's not a huge issue if you're just buying one tripod, but if you have a number of them and a monopod and several heads, it could be something to think about later on down the road. This one has two spirit levels, one here and one on the top. I'll show you the mounting plate here, the quick release plate. You'll notice that unlike a traditional plate, you have some movement here with the central screw-on area. That's to allow you to move the camera position, which is quite useful. You could have a battery door or cover that's obscured with a normal plate. This allows you to move it around to get an ideal position on that. On the back, you don't need a coin, although there is a slot here. You can just use the D-ring here to tighten it up. Mounting it on the head, simply unscrew and then tighten up. You'll notice it's a very secure fit on this. One thing to note is when you loosen the plate, it has a sort of built-in safety mechanism here so that it won't just fall out. You have some play so you can actually adjust it off central position, but it won't actually come out of the plate until you completely unscrew it. That's a built-in feature so that you don't accidentally loosen it off and the camera goes crashing to the ground. We don't want that, obviously, so even just sort of vaguely loosened off, it will still hold in the mount here. Onto the head, you'll see we have some markings here for the angle rotation. The three knobs here, this is the course control for the ball head. So that would be your first adjustment. You can semi-lock that off and then make fine adjustments with that one. So that's sort of a tensioner as such, so the more you tighten that, the less movement you'll get. The two of these are used in combination. This should be the first one that you adjust for bigger adjustments, and then you can make small adjustments and lock off this one. And the lower one here controls the rotation, so we have free rotation here, and locking that off prevents that. The advantage with the three system here is that you can lock off at an angle, and it's quite useful for panoramic shots where you can hold the position of the head. One area that I might possibly change is the locking mechanism. I would have preferred an automatic retracting one. It's not a huge deal, you just have to remember to lock it off, and it's quite stiff. Obviously this is new, so it's going to be fairly stiff, but remember to push that in. It does go quite low at the second position, but it only has 2 positions. So that's the lowest position now. Now I do have tripods that will go lower than that. They have a 3 position, so the only thing that I would change on that is perhaps a third one, which would allow you to go even lower down, giving you super low angles. Obviously you would have to move the center column up here. What I'm going to do now is turn the tripod into the monopod. You'll notice that 2 of the legs have foam padding and 1 doesn't. You'll see the gold marking here, so that's the one that we unscrew. Just unscrew that, and we'll need to take off this hook at the bottom. The hook's quite handy if you want to hang anything else on the tripod or put a weight on it, so this needs to come off. And then we just pull it out, screw the 2 together. It's quite a fine screw on that, you need to turn it quite a few times, but once it's locked in it's quite strong, and we have our monopod. Obviously you can pay hundreds of pounds for a tripod, but they've really done a good job with the design and the construction of the tripod, and it's quite a strong offering in the market at this price point. It's certainly well worth considering, even if you normally stick to some of the better known brands.